Childish Gambino's Bando Stone rollout is officially official. We learned this week that his final album as Childish Gambino is set to come out on July 19th, just 2 weeks away from today. So in this video, I want to break down everything we've heard and know about this album to this point, what we've kind of learned over this week with the new single and the trailer, and what we can expect to learn more about in the very, very near future. But before we get into that, what's up, y'all? Devon here again for Obligatory, showing up for you weekly every Friday with a music news recap video. Today is July 5th, 2024. If you watch my show every week, then you probably noticed I missed a couple weeks recently. Had some honestly pretty serious stuff going on, and I just want to say that that's really the only reason I'll ever miss this show, and if I do, I will be back as soon as humanly possible. But I appreciate y'all for sticking with me. So let's get into the news for this week, and the news that we're getting surrounding Bando Stone and the New World, which is an album soundtrack and a potential film. It stars Childish Gambino as Bando Stone, a very famous musician who finds himself in a post-apocalyptic world where seemingly there are no other humans around. So far, we can tell from the trailer that this is an action comedy sci-fi picture, but there's still a lot we really don't know about this album, like, is this an actual full-length feature film? Or is this thing more of a short film? But so far, everything here is looking really cool, really interesting. And then we got the single, Lithonia, which is a track that Childish Gambino himself has been teasing out there, either via Instagram or TikTok, for weeks now at this point. And the song is really nice, really enjoyable. It is a bit of a rock opera type piece, several really nice moments and elements sort of come to the forefront that I just did not expect from the initial teasers that we were getting. You can also see from the cover art for this single that this is Childish Gambino in the film. He's wearing the outfit that he wears in the film. And again, the album is coming soon, but if you're impatient on details, we might learn more as soon as tomorrow. Like I was saying, Childish Gambino is hosting a performance live from Little Island is the title. So we got the single, we got a trailer, we got an album release date, and tomorrow Childish Gambino is going to be performing this album, and there will be a listening party component to it as well. So we are in full swing with this whole album. Some other small things, I saw Donald posted like a screen recording of himself to his Instagram story. Maybe these are other collaborators that we can expect to see on the album. I'm really not sure about that. And then after all that is said and done, Childish Gambino is going to be going on tour in August, and it is a big one. It's arena to arena, US to abroad. And again, we could be kind of getting a much better idea of what this album actually sounds like very, very soon, starting tomorrow. So that's sort of the breakdown on Donald Glover, Childish Gambino. I think the biggest other thing that happened was yesterday when the Not Like Us music video dropped. And we kicked this video off with a snippet. That's right, a whole new song that we haven't heard yet from Kendrick in a small little 10-second preview. Again, we really don't get to hear much, but it's clearly another very West Coast track. One of my favorite things about this music video were the numerous visual references made to sort of make these jabs at Drake. We start off with a shot of the Compton courthouse. I really like the Dark Lane demo tapes reference here. Of course, we have the scene with Kendrick doing push-ups on the cinder block, sort of referring to the push-ups diss track from Drake. And of course, the many, many cameos we see throughout, maybe the most notably Kendrick's wife, Whitney Alford, and their 2 children. One of the main points that Drake went at Kendrick for repeatedly in these songs was that Kendrick's home life is a wreck, that he's not actually together with his wife. They're just sort of keeping up appearances. Bro really didn't take a single round off of Kendrick in this whole thing. But anyways, I get back to the cameos. We have Tommy the Clown, who we saw at the Pop Out performance. They had a whole segment with him and the T-Squad. But of course, we also see all of Black Hippie in this video, as we did see them all perform together in the Pop Out concert. But of course, we also saw all of Black Hippie and Top Dawg in this music video, even though Kendrick is no longer on TDE. And yeah, this thing is just a victory lap on top of several victory laps to this point. Now, as for the snippet at the start of the video, this to me is really the first direct hint from Kendrick himself that new music might seriously be coming. Also this week, the 2024 XXL Freshman List was revealed. I do have a handful of artists to look out for from this list, even though year after year this thing continues to lose its luster and its prestige. I think the complete lack of a theme for this year's list was a really interesting decision. Like, even looking at the cover, it's just nothing really. Again, the actual artists that made the list really aren't that terrible, but the noise surrounding like people not knowing who these artists are or how they really mesh together is growing a lot. That Mexican OT is a name that's been bubbling all year long, and he's done a lot of good work recently. Most notably for me, His feature on the recent Denzel track that'll be coming up on this upcoming Denzel mixtape is phenomenal. Then we got Bossman D-Lo, who, if you've been on TikTok in 2024, you have heard probably multiple Bossman D-Lo songs. I like him a lot, actually. I don't know how relevant he's going to be in the long term, how longevitous of a career he's going to have, but I'm definitely pro Bossman D-Lo, so he's good to be on this list. Scarlett from New York, probably one of the best rappers on this entire list, and one of the artists that I could see going for the long haul, sort of, and being a New York fixture for years to come. She has a really raw, in-your-face, and kind of intense style, but she also has like a level of versatility to her that, again, I think could make her an interesting artist for a long time. Cash Cobain is another name that's been coming up out of New York that has been making really quite the name for himself, either with production placements for other really big artists or getting really big features on his songs. And then we got Big X the Plug, also from Texas, who is another artist that admittedly I'm not as familiar with, but there's been a lot of steam and hype surrounding his name for a significant period of time leading up to this XXL thing that makes me feel like the list will actually do something to propel his career forward quite a bit, and it seems like he's got the talent to keep it pushing. So those were some of the artists that if you hadn't heard of already, I'd say check them out. The rest of them, I just personally don't really know that much about, and we'll try to learn more. And now we move on to the notable new releases and editors' picks from this week of new releases surrounding the weekend of July 4th. There just weren't a ton of artists clamoring to drop on this particular Friday, particularly with the albums. We did get a handful of interesting singles, but definitely one of the more quieter weeks in recent memory for what's been a really good spring and summer of releases so far. Albums announced this week, that didn't really miss. We got the Childish Gambino announcement. We got the new Eminem album with a date coming next week. The new King Gizzard album was announced this week as well. They have really slowed down their typical rate of releasing albums many times throughout the year. Albums releasing next week, as I mentioned, new Eminem album. I've been looking forward to the Common and Pete Rock album for much of this year. And then that long-awaited Clairo album that many people have been waiting all year and last year for. It's finally coming out. Albums the rest of July and for the rest of the year. Again, we have Denzel Curry and Childish Gambino to look forward to. Raven Lenae, Post Malone, Spirit of the Beehive, Turo y Moi, MJ Lenderman, Niloufer Yanya, Jamie XX, the Sophie posthumous album, and a lot more for the rest of the year. So thank you for watching another edition of the Weekly Friday News Show here at Obligatory. Again, I'm Devon at 6dev6 if you want to follow me on Instagram. Thank you for watching this episode of the Weekly Friday Music News Show. Again, this is Obligatory. I'm Devon at 6dev6 if you want to follow me on Instagram. And we'll be back next week. Again, bummed we missed a couple weeks recently, but hopefully I'll be back next week and every week for the rest of this year. So see y'all then, and peace out.